Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vindhya Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Mataji, you can start whenever you're ready.
Hare Krishna. Danpat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Swataswatim Vyasam Chatojaya Muriraye Nasta Prayeshu Abhareshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistehike. Today we are reading from Canto 9, Chapter 18, King Yayati Regains His Youth, Text 1 through 29. Text 1. Sukadev Goswami said, O King Parikshit, as the embodied soul has 6 senses, King Nahusa had 6 sons named Yati, Yayati, Samyati, Ayati, Vijayati, and Kriti. Text 2. When one enters the post of king or head of the government, one cannot understand the meaning of self-realization. Knowing this, Yeti, the eldest son of Nahusa, did not accept the power to rule, although it was offered by his father. Text 3. Because Nahusa, the father of Yayati, molested Indra's wife Sachi, who then complained to Agastya and other Brahmanas, these saintly Brahmanas cursed Nahusa to fall from the heavenly planets and be degraded to the status of a python. Consequently, Yayati became the king. Text 4. King Yayati had 4 younger brothers, whom he allowed to rule the 4 directions. Yayati himself married Devayani, the daughter of Sukracharya, and Sarmista, the daughter of Vrishapariva, and ruled the entire earth. Text 5. Maharaj Parikshit said, Sukracharya was a very powerful Brahmana, and Maharaj Yayati was a Kshatriya. Therefore, I am curious to know how there occurred this pratiloma marriage between a Kshatriya and a Brahmana. Text 6 and 7. Sukadev Goswami said, one day, Vrishapariva, daughter Sarmista, who was innocent but angry by nature, was walking with Devayani, the daughter of Sukracharya, and with thousands of friends in the palace garden. The garden was full of lotuses and trees of flowers and fruits, and was inhabited by sweetly singing birds and bumblebees. Text 8. When the young lotus-eyed girls came to the bank of a reservoir of water they wanted to enjoy by bathing, thus they left their clothing on the bank and began sporting, throwing water on one another. Text 9. While sporting in the water, the girls suddenly saw Lord Shiva passing by, seated on the back of his bull with his wife Parvati. Ashamed because they were naked, the girls quickly got out of the water and covered themselves with their garments. Text 10. Sarmista unknowingly put Devyani's dress on her body, thus angering Devyani, who then spoke as follows. Text 11. Oh, just see the activities of the servant maid Sarmista. Disregarding all etiquette, she has put on my dress, just like a dog snatching clarified butter meant for use in a sacrifice. Text 12 through 14. We are among the qualified Brahmanas who are accepted as the face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Brahmanas have created the entire universe by their austerity, and they always keep the absolute truth within the core of their hearts. They have directed the path of good fortune, the path of Vedic civilization, and because they are only worshipable objects within this world, they are offered prayers and worshipped even by the great demigods, the directors of the various planets, and even by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, the Supreme Purifier, the husband of the Goddess of Fortune. And we are even more respectable because we are in the dynasty of Brigu. Yet, although this woman's father, being among the demons, is our disciple, She has put on my dress, exactly like a Sudra taking charge of Vedic knowledge. Text 15. Sukadev Goswami said, when thus rebuked in cruel words, Sarmista was very angry. Breathing heavily like a serpent and biting her lower lips with her teeth, she spoke to the daughter of Sukracharya as follows. Text 16. You beggar, since you don't understand your position, why should you unnecessarily talk so much? Don't all of you wait at our house, depending on us for our livelihood like crows? Text 17. Using such unkind words, Sarmista rebuked Devayani, the daughter of Sukracharya. In anger, she took away Devyani's garments and threw Devyani into a well. Text 18. After throwing Devyani into the well, Sarmista went home. Meanwhile, King Yayati, while engaged in a hunting excursion, went to the well to drink water and by chance saw Devyani. Text 19. Seeing Devyani naked in the well, King Yayati immediately gave her his upper cloth. Being very kind to her, he caught her hand with his own and lifted her out. Text 20-21. With words saturated with love and affection, Devyani said to King Yayati, O great hero, O king, conqueror of the cities of your enemies, by accepting my hand, you have accepted me as your married wife. Let me not be touched by others, for our relationship as husband and wife has been made possible by providence, not by any human being. Text 22. Because of falling in the well, I met you. Indeed, this has been arranged by providence. After I cursed Kacha, the son of the learned scholar Brahaspati, he cursed me by saying that I would not have a Brahmana for a husband. Therefore, O mighty armed one, there is no possibility of my becoming the wife of a Brahmana. Text 23. Sukadev Goswami continued, because such a marriage is not sanctioned by regular scriptures, King Yayati did not like it. But because it was arranged by providence and because he was attracted by Devyani's beauty, he accepted her request. Text 24. Thereafter, when the learned king returned to his palace, Devyani returned home crying and told her father Sukracharya about all that had happened because of Sarmista. She told him how she had been thrown into the well but was saved by the king. Text 25. As Sukracharya listened to what had happened to Devyani, his mind was very aggrieved. Condemning the profession of priesthood and praising the profession of unchavriti, collecting grains from the fields, he left home with his daughter. Text 26. King Versaparva understood that Sukracharya was coming to chastise or curse him. Consequently, before Sukracharya came to his house, Versaparva went out and fell down in the street at the feet of his guru and satisfied him, checking his wrath. Text 27. The powerful Sukracharya was angry for a few moments, but upon being satisfied, he said to Rasaparva, my dear king, kindly fulfill the desire of Devyani. She is my daughter, and in this world I cannot give her up or neglect her. Text 28. After hearing Sukracharya's request, Rasaparva agreed to fulfill Devyani's desire, and he awaited her words. Devyani then expressed her desire as follows. Whenever I marry by the order of my father, my friend Sarmista must go with me as my maidservant along with her friends. Text 29. Vishwaparva wisely taught that Sukracharya's displeasure would bring danger and that his pleasure would bring material gain. Therefore, he carried out Sukracharya's order and served him like a slave. He gave his daughter Sarmista to Devyani, and Sarmista served Devyani like a slave, along with thousands of other women. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Vindhya Mataji, for reading the translations today. Hare Krishna, Rasa Chandrika Mataji, please accept the Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Please take over the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Vidya Mataji, for reading such lengthy translations today. Thank you so much. Before we get started, we'll have short prayers. ॐ अज्ञानं तिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमतिभक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. So we are in ninth canto, 18th chapter, and we are going to learn about Nahusa, his progeny, how his kingdom came into existence. And in that, we are going to specifically learn about, in this chapter, about King Yayati. So, ninth canto is really wonderful with lots of short stories. And uh, somebody once asked me, what is the difference between Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam? Sometimes we see people really don't know that these are two different books. And I did not know how to explain. So obviously, I went up to my superiors and asked them how to explain somebody what is the difference between Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And I got a really very good answer from a senior devotee. And he said that Bhagavad Gita is what to do, and Bhagavatam is how to do. So you once get all the instructions from Bhagavad Gita, what you are supposed to do. But many times, until unless we don't have a practical example in front of us, it becomes really difficult to follow what to do. And that's where Bhagavatam comes. It tells us exactly how to do, what not to do, what to do. Right? So we start with 18th chapter. King Yayati regains his youth. Start with the first verse until 29 today. It's a story. We will go in a story form. It's very self-explanatory. We don't have too many puppets, but it's still very well narrated. Okay. Sukdev Goswami over here is talking to Shri Parikshit Maharaj, and he's talking about Nahusa, saying that Nahusa is a king who had 6 sons, and all the names were given as Yati, Yayati, Samyati, Ayati, Viyati, and Kriti. Out of these 6 sons, we will be focusing on Yayati, the second son today. Here, he further goes on to explaining that there was a time when Yati, the oldest son, right? Once the king gives up his position, it's the oldest son's responsibility. And Yati was the oldest son. And he gave him the responsibility of running the kingdom, or you say becoming the king. But Yati did not accept it. Here, Prabhupada states in his purport very nicely that when a person has self-realization, like his prime objective is that I know who my Swarup is, like Jivara Swarup Hoy Krishna Nityadas. When you know your prime object of life, and that time a person is situated in the mode of goodness and will always reject as it not give too much importance to material benefits, because he or she is aware that this material benefit is going to do no good to me, because my ultimate destination, self realization, my self realized path is going back to Krishna, back to Godhead. Hence, Yati, the oldest son, he said, I will not take up the duty of being a king, rather, I would leave the kingdom and go in the one and continue focusing or meditating on the lotus feet of Krishna. Because of this, Yayati, as in the second son, was appointed as the king. Here, Prabhupada says that it is not necessary that if you are a king, you might not be able to focus on your dharma very nicely, on the path of self-realization very nicely. And then he gave example of Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj obviously was in politics, he was a king, and he was a very good king. He was such a powerful king that he had the ability to stop Kali Yuga from coming. Such an amazing king. And he also had the power and the dedication to hear Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days, 7 nights constantly. And he did go back home, back to Godhead. So it's not necessary that if you are a king or if you are in a prime position or say in politics, you might get deviated. But if you are not sure about your intentions, as like Parikshit Maharaj was very sure that he could do a very good job, it is better to step down. It is better to step away from such problems or you say situations. Then he said, what happened with Nahusa? Here we see Nahusa got into a very bad situation by molesting Sachimata, wife of Indradevta. And obviously, we see time and again, we see something about molestation or lust comes up into a Shastra, and which obviously tells us why we should not have as much lust, because his result was not joyous, his result was turning into a python by the curse. Then we go ahead and then we see that Yayati, who was the second brother, he told all his younger four brothers to rule out the four direction, and he decided that I will enjoy the kingdom. I mean, why not? This is what his position was, and he ended up marrying two Matajis, Shukracharya's daughter Devyani and Vrishaparva's daughter Sarmishtha. Sarmishtha. And then we see Parikshit Maharaj, like a very with a lot of rapt attention, he's listening to all these kathas, and he immediately puts up a question that how is this possible? Maharaj Yayati is a Kshatriya, Shukracharya is a Brahmana. How can a Brahman girl, get married to a Kshatriya boy? This is called as a Pratiloma marriage. How did this happen? Give me more details about it. So here Prabhupada explains us what is Pratiloma marriage and what is Anuloma marriage. Uh, yeah, Parikshit Maharaj says, Prabhupada explains, Anuloma marriage means the boy being Brahman and the girl being Kshatriya is a very good choice of marriage. But when a boy is Kshatriya and the girl is from Brahman class, it is a Pratiloma marriage. It is not recommended in the society. So it's basically Brahmanas are upper class as compared to Kshatriyas. So if the boy is Brahmana in a marriage, the boy is always the person who rules. He has the authority. So if the boy is Brahmana from an upper class and women from Kshatriya class, the marriage is very good. Hence, like we say Anukul, it is Anuloma. Here, it is said, Prabhupada describes that we have different kind, in the next verse also we will see, we have different kind of people in our life that we come across. And we nowadays, people just tend to marry just by looking at the face. But Prabhupada is saying that this should not be the case. This is not how marriages should take place. He says that your standards, your caste, and your charts should be matched too. Prabhupada is saying that there are three kind of categories in which people are born: Devatagan, Manushyagan, and Rakshasgan. So these are our characteristics. So if a Devatagan marries a Rakshasgan, the marriage is not going to balance really well. If a Devtagan marries a Devtagan, that will be a good balance. So hence this question was raised up that Shukracharya is a good Brahmana. I mean, he has all these understandings about Pratiloma and Anuloma. And how did he give into such kind of marriage, which is not really accepted by the society? We see one instance when Parshuram came, he had killed all the Kshatriyas, and at that time, also Kshatriya Matajis married all the Brahman boys. That was a very Anuloma type of marriages that took place. So further we go, and here it is said that Sukadeva Goswami goes on to describing a story that one day took place between Sarmishta and Devyani. They were all friends. Devyani was maidservant for Sarmishta. We'll remember this, and there are thousands of friends at this moment, and they were having a good time in a garden, and they went into a pond to play. And once they were in the pond, a water body, they began to take baths. So they gave up all their clothes, and they were having their own childish fun. But they saw that Shivji is passing by along with Mata Parvati, and that's when everybody was ashamed, and they tried to put back up their clothes. And here Sarmishta made a mistake, and that is a mistake which human tend to make, right? We do have one of the characteristics that we make mistake. She unknowingly, without paying too much attention, in haste, put on Devyani's dress, and Devyani Mataji, Shukracharya's daughter, really got upset with this. You see, this point of getting upset is just the exchange of the dress, is not really that big. It's pretty petty, but still, we'll have a whole story behind this. So here, see, Sharmishta, she talks in a very degraded manner to Sarmishta, saying that, look, this girl, because she is Brahman Putri, she says, this Brahman Putri, she has that audacity to say that, look at this girl, she has no basic etiquette. And now, why is she talking about etiquette? She is comparing Sarmishta with a dog. And she's saying that she does not have basic etiquette. Look at her, how she's snatching my clothes, not paying attention whose it is. Comparing her to a dog, saying a dog is like this, who pulls very important sacred butter, which is meant for sacrifice, pulls for his or her own desire. So, and then she goes on to saying, she does not stop there. This is what happens when Krodha comes into existence. We have already learnt it in Bhagavad Gita, verse number 2.62 and 2.63. We see how we have attachment to something. Here we see Devyani is having attachment to her property and her pratishtha, which is pride. And once that is going down, once that is taken away, when she's having that attachment taken off, she turns into anger. That behavior turns into anger, and that anger turns into obviously delusion. And then you have a loss of intelligence, and once there is loss of intelligence, there is Haribol situation. It's patan, fall down. Here in anger, now she's saying that we are Brahmanas, like Brahmanas are the utmost important people, and we are even accepted by Supreme Personality of Godhead. Supreme Personality of Godhead also worships us, and all the Devi Devtas worship us, all the people worship us. Like, we are very important part of this whole world. If we are not there, then there is no point of anybody being here. This is ghamand, which is, you say, pride, too much pride, unnecessary pride. Is saying even the super soul, the supreme purifier, the husband of the goddess of fortune, they also respect us. We are so respectful people. We are coming from the dynasties of Brigu. She's trying to show her prowess. Mm. And she says, and yet, although this woman's father, as is Sharmishta's father, he's among the demons and he's our disciple. We know that Vrishaparva is also a demon, and he's my father's disciple. Look at her. Look at her audacity that this Shudra is now trying to take the charge of Vedic knowledge. Here, so a lot of degraded words are being spoken just because the reason was extreme pride, and when that was not fulfilled, it turned into anger, and anger is always turning into loss of intelligence. Now, it was not that Samrishta Mataji was very soumya or very humble and did she let it go. That was not the case. Here, Sukdev Goswami goes on to explaining that Samrishta, Sarmishta, was also really, really angry. Okay. So when you have two people and really angry, the result of it is always going to bad. There is nothing good that is going to come out of it. Now she starts saying, chastising Brahmanas, that you are like beggar people. Unnecessary, you all are waiting at the front of our door, waiting for dan, bhiksha, or something like that. You are like crows. So here Prabhupada is explaining that crows are the people, crows are the species who will be there. They don't have a goal. Yeah? Crows are not independent at all. They're extremely dependent on garbage. Whatever is thrown in their way, they'll pick it up and go. So this is why she calls them crow. Like, unless and until we don't give you daan, how can you even run your family? Again, there is a clash of ego, ahankar. Two angered people talking like this will always result into unnecessary problems. So here, going on further, she also takes into anger, and with that anger, she takes away Devyani's clothes and also pushes her into the well. And at this point of time, Devyani Mataji does not have any piece of clothing on her body. Now, when she's into the well, King Yayati is just on his hunting excursion and hears the voice and comes to Devyani Mataji so that he can save her. Now, when he comes over there, he sees that Devyani is without her clothes. Hence, he, as a kind person, he offers his upper cloth to Devyani and lifts her up from that well. Now, when he gives him her hand, at this point, Devyani says that now you have to accept me as your married wife because you took my hand here. And then she says that, anyways, this is as per the providence, it's not a man made thing. And because of a curse that I have onto myself in verse number 22, given by Kacha, um, I cannot marry a Brahmana anyways, and you are a Kshatriya, so please accept me. Also, you have seen me in this position, just in not a very humble position at this moment, and you have also caught hold of my hand. You should accept me as your wife. Prabhupada, in his purport, excuse me, explains a story about Kacha. Kacha was a he was a student, no, he was the son of Brihaspati, and he came to Shukracharya as a disciple because there is something he really wanted to learn, a vidhi he wanted to learn, and that is called as Mrita Sanjeevani. What is Mrita Sanjeevani? Prabhupada is explaining that this is a kind of mantra that brings dead people to life, and he wanted to use it. Brihaspati's son wanted to use it because in battles there are many times lot of soldiers who lose their life, and if their bodies are intact, by chanting these mantra Mrita Sanjeevani, he can bring them back to life. So he did not want unnecessary lives to go away in just unnecessary wars. And that was the reason he came down to Shukracharya. When he came here, Devyani, she was really attracted to Kacha and wanted to get married to him. But Kacha said no, that it's not possible, and refused. Because he refused, again Devyani became really angry. She has no control on her anger. And cursed him that this vidhi that you have come to learn here, for the reason why you are a student of my father, you will forget this. When you need it, you will forget this vidhi. So, in we have seen one more of this thing takes place in Mahabharata also. Karan was cursed by Dronacharya that in the time of need you will forget all what I have taught you. And this is what happened with Karan in the battlefield of Mahabharata. He had forgotten everything that was being taught to him by Dronacharya. Dronacharya? Parshuram. Parshuram. Uh, and then going further, here he says that Kacha also got angry And he cursed her that you will never be able to marry any kind of Brahmana. You will never be married to a Brahmana. And hence, she brings up this point in front of Yayati, King Yayati, and tells him that you need to marry me because anyways I will not be accepted. You have seen me in a very wrong situation and you've also held my hand. Hence, please accept me. After this, she says because such a marriage is not sanctioned by regular scriptures, Yayati was not happy. But he thought it is arranged by province, and also Devyani Mataji is very beautiful. And what's the harm? I will be enjoying a married life with her. That was his main criteria of thinking, and he accepted that proposal and went back to his palace. When he went back to his palace, now Devyani Mataji, after doing the whole talk, now she starts crying and goes back to her father Shukracharya and tells what happened because of Sharmishta. This is also one important point for us devotees to learn. Sometimes we always blame others only, that this happened because so and so said this or because so and so did this. But we forget what we did. In our perception, we always assume that whatever we do, we are Devatagan, we do nice things only. Right? This should not be our assumption. We should first scrutinize the situation. What did I do wrong that I got this kind of reaction from the person in front of me? This scrutinizing helps bring down lot of such wrath fights that we are just seeing between Sarmishta and Devyani. So she goes on complaining to Shukracharya about the attitude of Sarmishta, and she also says that how Yayati saved her. After listening to this, Shukracharya also gets mad. He's also aggrieved. And he's like, how dare she call me like, a priest? I'm not, because I'm not a independent person. And he was praising the independent profession, which is called as Uchavritti. As in, you do your own work. There are many Brahmanas who do not go ask for food or any kind of dan from anyone. These kind of brahmanas are trying to be self-sufficient, which is called as Uchavritti, and they do basic agricultural things. They have their own, grow their own grains and use it for themselves. And he said that this kind of profession is better than myself being a priest, and he's really angry at this moment. He takes his daughter along with him and he's heading to Vrishaparva's house at this moment. Vrishaparva realizes that Shukracharya is going to come chastise, or even worse, is going to curse. Brahmanas curse very easily, especially when they're angry. So he was like sure that I'm going to be cursed and something wrong is going to happen. The moment Shukracharya came, Vrishaparva fell down on his feet and asked him to forgive him. And the moment somebody's pride is satisfied, we start overlooking right or wrong suddenly. So similarly, Shukracharya also was angry only for a moment and then he gave up his anger, which is also a very nice thing to do. And now he is saying, you have to fulfill the desire of my daughter Devyani, right? Because she is my daughter, I am going to be on her side, whether right or wrong. This is what attachment makes us do. When we have intense asakti, attachment to any material thing, say relations, things, we always might not take the right decisions. And here he's saying you have to listen to whatever Devyani says because she is my daughter and I'm going to side by her. And here Devyani, out of complete anger and pride, asks Vrishaparva that when I get married, some Sharmishta has to come as my maid servant. We see the things changed. Yeah? Now she is going to be the maid servant, and all her friends will be now her friends. So here Prabhupada is explaining in brief that why does she has to come as a maid servant? What is the context of maid servant over here? So, in the previous days, when Kshatriyas used to get married, the Kshatranis would take maid servants along with them, right? And lot of friends. So there were few maid friends and few friends. Um, So the king had the responsibility to take care of his wife along with the maidservant and the friends that she is brought along. Prabhupada is saying the population of women has always been more. This is why few, like, the male in reciprocation are few. So kings would take care of most of the quantity of the women. And in these maid servants, some of them would also have kids from the king. Um, and here it is said that further going we will have a story, but here she said that I want you to be my maid servant. And for the pleasure of Shukracharya, Vrishaparva accepts it, because he knew that if he's not going to accept it, he's going to curse in some very wrong manner that might bring down his family life or whatever. For that reason, he was scared and he submitted to Shukracharya's order. He himself became his slave, and he also asked his daughter Sharmishta to be Devyani's maid servant. Here, Prabhupada is explaining when such kings have kids from the maid servant, they are called as dasi putra. And we have already heard dasi putra in Mahabharata. Vidurji was dasi putra because he came from a dasi, but he was still part Kshatriya. And here also this is going to be the case. The child, if in future happens for Sharmishta, is going to be Dasi Putra. So we have our discussion till here only. But from this whole discussion, what we learn is, what I could think of was from Bhagavad Gita, verse number 2.62 and 2.63, which talks about anger, and then how anger leads us to bewilderment, loss of intelligence, and then there is a fall down of a person. Every time we get angry, this is something that we should meditate on. It is difficult, but we should practice. Is what Bhagavatam telling us how not to do things. So we will stop over here. Thank you. Haribol.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for a very wonderful class. Thank you all devotees for joining the class today. Hare Krishna.